Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. It is time to discuss my last trading week because it was full of lessons that I want to share with you so that you hopefully can learn from them as well. And not just last week, but also the first 2 days of this week. So let's get right into it. Last week I took 2 trades on AU and we're going to jump right into the first one. So this is obviously the replay mode. This is the day of my first AU trade. And what I was looking for is this supply zone, okay? Let's mark this out real quick. London tapped into this supply zone, okay? We can also zoom out a little more. We are on the M5 time frame. That this supply zone itself mitigated another supply zone here, okay? And then almost made a lower low. So you could say it failed to make a lower low, but for me it looked like it was basically almost equals here. So it built liquidity down here. So my thesis is that we can follow this potentially if we resweep London session liquidity and get into the extreme of this supply, that we can possibly see a nice short setup if the low time frame confirms it. Okay, so that was my thesis. So when New York opened bullish, I was anticipating possible nice shorts from here. So when we fast forward a little, we take London, and then I was just observing and waiting for my entry drill. And then I saw this. Okay, so let's zoom in here a little so that you can see better. So we get a deep mitigation of this supply, first of all. Okay, and then we shoot down with aggression. Okay, I really like seeing when we take a session liquidity for price to show a strong reaction. Okay, so that is what we get here. We shoot down. And as you can see, let's read into the details here. We are building a nice little trend line here, okay? So when price was coming up here again, normally I wait for something like this, okay? This is not yet the break of structure, okay? Because this is the structural low and we didn't break it yet, okay? But we were forming that trend line here. So what I typically wait for is a second leg to then make a lower low. So we have confirmed bearish flip of order flow, okay? And we have ultimately the break of structure. But I was a little bold here, okay? Let me explain. We come up here, and I don't know if it was this candle. No, I think it was one candle more. Yes, okay. So in this candle, I entered a short, okay? So I took this short. This candle was basically... This candle was basically down here, okay? So it was a full bearish body, almost engulfing. And that's where I pulled the trigger because I liked, look how we come down, fat imbalances, and we come up balanced, okay? Then we have one strong bullish candle, but then we have that almost engulfing full body candle, okay? So that's when I decided to pull the trigger because it wouldn't have surprised me if this would have just fully engulfed, closed down here, and price then just running away. So I was pulling the trigger here, market execution, stop loss above the high, and I was just confident that this high is gonna hold, and then we're gonna take out this trend line and then come lower to ultimately take out this low and possibly this inducement low. So that's what I did. It's an aggressive entry, okay? Untypical for me. For me, normally I wait for that second leg, okay? So let's play this forward. We get a nice, beautiful confirmation. So this is normally the time in which I really get interested and where I'm typically not already in the trade. So we get our break of structure here too. We close under all these structural points here. We take out the trend line, so far so good. So normally, if I wouldn't have been already in, I would try to get in here somewhere in this imbalance. And ultimately, price just absolutely melted to the take profit. And I took full profit on that. 3.58R was a nice and handsome profit. Actually, I took this on my swing account. My swing account, as you know, my first queue was terrible. Or if you don't know, now you know. And I got all my losses from the whole first queue of swing trading back in this win, which felt great. My challenge is now back at break even. I couldn't take this on the funded account because it was waiting for the payout. So I literally just took it on that one account. And I think one thing that made me a little more trigger happy here especially with the good entry, was me being a little frustrated with the challenge, you know, being in high drawdown, and I just wanted to either take a risk, and if I lose it, okay, I buy a new one and I go aggressive again, or I get it back to break even. And ultimately, I was fortunate enough to get it break even, so that was cool. So let's jump right into the next trade. Let's actually discuss why I'm not very happy with this trade. And actually, my mentor and friend Mack, he covered this trade on his channel and on his mentorship, and he said, yes, it's kind of a valid trade, okay, because we have a supply mitigation, but it is not my A+ setup, and is not what I normally wait for. First of all, I didn't wait for my second leg, okay? Yes, this time it would have missed me ultimately, so that would have been unfortunate, but it is what I always do, you know. So that is the first thing. I didn't wait for my second leg. We didn't have the break of structure yet. And what I really normally wait for is a 4-hour break of structure, or a 4-hour sweep. So normally I wait for this high and ideally this high to get taken out, okay? Instead of a mitigation, I wait for a sweep, okay? We sweep this, let's say we come up here, and then we see a similar entry drill, ideally with 2 legs. That setup, compared to what I took here, has so much higher win rate. I wouldn't say that the trade I took was like edgeless or a gamble or a shit trade, okay? But far inferior to what I normally take, okay? And my mentor and friend Mack, he spotted that and he confronted me with that. I'm gonna show you his message later on, okay? First, we're gonna go to the second trade, okay? So let's fast forward here to the next day. Okay, so here we go. So next day, we have a similar situation going on, okay? We have this mitigated supply that ultimately on the higher time frame made the lower low here, okay? This was the previous lows here, and we made here a lower low, okay? So this supply up here, where we took the trade from, was formed, okay? And it made a lower low, so it is a valid supply. Then we have the same thing going on, right? We have the London session tapping into that supply. And then I was waiting for the same thing. I wanted New York to re-sweep London, okay? So that we then can see our low time frame entry drill to take this thing lower once again. So we were just following the mitigations here, okay? So I was looking for the same thing than the previous day, okay? So let's play this out. Same thing happens. We sweep London high, further and fully properly mitigating the supply, tapping into this top fair value gaps here. Give it a nice little re-sweep, okay? So we stay patient, we wait for a low time frame drill, okay? And look at this. This looks a little cleaner than yesterday, I would say, than the day before. We have break of structure here, closes below, so a true bearish flip, okay? So when we came up here again, let me actually see, I think I took this here, I don't remember completely. Yes, so when we came up here and then instantly came down, once we just marginally tapped this first fair value gap, I could see while I'm having the MetaTrader open that it was basically tapping this. And I mean, when you see and you observe price, I can't show you that here, but when you see that price is like fluctuating higher, then it taps the fair value gap and it's like boom, goes instantly down. That for me was confirmation enough that this is probably some institutional level that got tapped here. So I was quick pulling the trigger. So from here to here, it was like probably 2 seconds, and I just pulled the trigger here. Okay. Target, humble target, just these equal lows that we formed here. Okay, so this is a liquidity pool that I wanted to see get taken out. A session liquidity of London as well, to tap into the demands that are coming up here lower. Okay, so this demand sweeping liquidity of the previous swing lows was something that I thought price would potentially come for. So that was the thesis. Okay, so let's see how this played out. Obviously at first, okay, trading view just crashed. Give me a second. Now it's back. Okay, so at first we have a beautiful reaction, just like here, okay? And here is what I missed during the trade, okay? So we were just before take profit here. This was still just on my swing challenge because I was still waiting for the payout, so this was only taken with one account. So we started rejecting here from this bottom supply demand, okay? So this demand started a rejection, okay? I was not worried about this because we have the liquidity here, and this is a mitigated weak supply demand, I would argue, because it has the liquidity resting just below it. So I wasn't too worried. But the thing, first of all, let's see what happened, okay? Ultimately, price fails a second time here to break lower, and instead of me just closing here because I see that it just rejects my TP, me being an idiot, I just trusted my analysis a little too much, and I thought, no reason to panic, it's still bearish order flow, we're gonna take it out in a moment. But ultimately what happened is price came all the way back, and I was forced to take the break even here because when you're so short before TP, taking a loss is just stupid. So I was forced into a break even here because I was just not smart enough to take profit here. And it's not just that it rejected twice here, okay? What I really missed here is the 60 figure, big figure, 60 cents, okay? These round big figure numbers, when it does twice this, then you can tell that there's institutional orders laying here, okay? And I realized that too late. I should have banked my 1R here and just super unnecessary, but I take the lesson, okay? I'm gonna watch out more for the numbers in the future if it rejects close to my TP, and I'm gonna react to it accordingly. I'm just gonna close it next time. So a lesson learned, very valuable, okay? So why again was this not a very good setup? Because it wasn't really. Well, it's the same story, right? First of all, we don't have a high time frame for our structural liquidity sweep. We don't have a previous day's high sweep or anything. We just have London sweep, which is better than nothing. And we are also tapping into this supply. So don't get me wrong. This is not an edgeless trade. This is not a stupid trade like the other. Well, like the other wasn't neither. Is what I mean. But it just doesn't have the high time frame liquidity sweep. Okay, so this is something that can trigger, if you're a little bit on the bad side of distribution, something like that can trigger a losing streak. Okay, so it's just, if you want to take setups like that, maybe with less risk, but I took full risk here and I was just a little too trigger happy, you know, because it's really worthwhile waiting for these super clean setups, because you're just gonna have so much like such less losses, such a way bigger win rate. So it's just not worth it to take these B setups. And this is something that my mentor confronted me with, and I'm gonna pop the message up here in a moment. So let me just read this, okay? I posted the second trade, okay? And he was already saying to me, I'm gonna text you later because I don't like what you're doing right now, okay? And then he said ultimately, bro, so that's 2 days in a row now you took low quality setups. We do well because we're sticking to A+ setups. Don't get into the habit of taking lower ones just because you can reason it through by taking it on another account. This being my swing trade account and not my funded account. Because I also said I wouldn't have taken it on the funded account, which is true. I would have never taken it on the funded account. It's just not good enough. So why do I take it on another account with full risk? Kind of didn't make too much sense, my reasoning there, okay? All that does is build a bad habit, which is absolutely true, okay? Makes you trigger happy, because it isn't helping being patient. Absolutely true. Trust me, I used to do this all the time. It isn't good. If it isn't A+, don't trade. You were kicking ass with A+ setups. And that is true as well. We are killing it this year, Mack and me. This was another setup, same as yesterday. Swept external, no internal sweep. Swept external, he means the low, the swing low that we took out and then we came up again, okay? No internal sweep, which he means is the supply that I traded from. So he would have wanted to see that getting swept instead of mitigated. Okay, so if we switch back here, what he means is the external sweep is basically this swing low getting taken out, which means that normally the price action looks for opposing internal liquidity. And this internal liquidity is this first supply zone here that caused the low, that caused the sweep. So instead of looking for a mitigation play here, I should have looked for a sweep play, at least of this high, and then look for shorts. It's just, of course this is valid, but it's just way less valid than if it would have done that in the top here. That would have been way cleaner, this setup here at the top after sweeping that, okay? So this is what he was referring to specifically. Tons of buy-side liquidity above, and this is something that I completely missed as well, okay? Look at this trend line forming. Look at this 1, 2, 3, 4 touch. Okay, and ultimately we absolutely skyrocket through that. Of course, I was break even at that point, but it's just risky business, man. It was basically completely against liquidity. Okay, because we took the bottom, so we're gonna look, if we take the bottom, we're gonna take the top next. Okay, and this is exactly what happened here. We spanked all these low supply zones that are in the high time frame in discount anyway. I'm shorting in high time frame discount anyway all the time, so doing this without a high time frame sweep is just risky, man. So he's absolutely right about that, and I'm grateful that I have him and that he keeps me humble, you know, because this is something that I learned last week for real. So swept external, no internal sweep. We discussed what that means. Tons of buy-side liquidity above, referring to the trend line and all the highs that haven't been taken out, even though they are in discount. And imbalance. So what he means with imbalance is obviously this huge imbalances above on the high time frame that are waited to be mitigated, and there are obviously a high time frame magnet for price. Yeah. Don't make it a habit. Can disagree, doesn't matter. I'm telling you from my own experience, it doesn't help. And he is so right, man. He's so right. This were two setups. Yeah, they have their own little edge, but it's not worth forcing the matter on that, especially not with 2%. I took both these trades with 2%. Of course, ultimately, I took profits here. I made 7% on that. And that's the tricky thing about trading. I was not sticking to my trading plan here, because normally this is mandatory for me to sweep a high time frame liquidity pool. I was deviating from the plan and making 7% profit. This is the most dangerous thing that can happen to you in trading, man. So I'm grateful having a mentor humbling me, and I think I also I have to give me some slack here. At least I realized my mistake rather quickly, and thank God I didn't take any losses from it. And I remember it, and I won't do this again. Okay, so let's jump into the trade today that unfortunately I missed. Okay, and this is again something you're gonna see the difference and the contrast now to these setups, or these two setups, to what I'm gonna show you next, because what I'm gonna show you next is just so clean, and I'm an idiot for having not seen it. Okay, but we're gonna go through it in a moment. Let me just get the replay to the right spot. Okay, so now we are on NZD USD today, Tuesday, 15th of April. Okay, and this is where my fumble happened. I just did not see it. Okay, perfect setup. So this is the daily chart. I'm sorry. So this is the daily chart, and you can see that this is a daily liquidity sweep, and this is a little bit faulty of the replay tool. Let me just see what happened here, okay? So on the 5-minute, you see that it has been swept, but here in the 5-minute replay mode, it hasn't been swept yet. So you're already spoiled now. You're gonna see that New York is gonna sweep that. That's what you've seen on the daily chart right now. So we have swept a daily structural high, okay? Let's just go back here. We sweep this daily structural high. So this is what I mean with high time frame liquidity sweep. This was such a crazy liquidity pool because this high itself swept this as inducement, okay? And then let for a major push down, okay? So this is a super key area. This is having a ton of stop losses resting above it, okay? So when we sweep that here, early New York session, this is prime shorts area. This is also the high of the day now because we swept the highest session of the day, which was Asia, okay? So we are at the high of the day. We swept a ton of liquidity. So from a high time frame perspective, this is the perfect textbook environment. A low time frame 1 hour M15 supply mitigation is a complete joke against a daily structural sweep. Okay, this is so much better, man. So let's see what happens here. After we sweep, we build a choppy piece of price action. So this is beautiful because this is just loading the shorts. Okay, this is just basically the buyers running out of steam. Okay, then we sweep the top of the consolidation. Okay, so this is our first little smart money trap. We sweep the top, okay, and then we build this trend line. All the early birds, the 1 minute traders, get fooled into shorting here early. We take them all out, okay, we sweep the top again, and then we get a beautiful break of structure closing above all the below all this chop, okay, and now we mitigate this demand here, but this demand here created equals with this wick here. So that tells me already that this demand is probably weak. Another reason why this demand is probably weak is because it led to the sweep of the level, of the daily structural level. So this demand basically has done its job. It swept the level, it built a chop at the top. So this is probably not gonna create another higher high, not after such a bearish reaction and after taking so much buy side liquidity. Okay, so on the M15, this is also something super clean. Look, let me just make this candle close. So the candle closes here. Okay, so we have a fair value gap here that gets mitigated now. Look how we close with this doji candle. Okay, we close the fair value gap, we fail to break higher. Okay, we have this bearish candle engulfing. So this is an area, if I would have seen that setup, man, I would have 100%, I'm telling you, 100% I would have market executed within these two candles, or probably at the end of this candle. 100%. I would have market executed somewhere in here, stop loss above the high, of course, and targeting probably a humble session low here. Maybe I would have gone for a 2RR below this, something like that. You know, Asia center line, something like that, okay? Probably at least this here for 1.7R. Super high quality setup, okay? And let's just play this out first, and then I'm gonna just quickly explain why I didn't take it, why I missed it. So this was just super nice bearish order flow that just maintained all the way through the rest of the day. And now after the next day is open, we see that the bearish order flow maintains. We're probably gonna go for Asia low here, and just a beautiful trade. This is working so often, man. You have seen me do it in the backtesting session. In the last 2 backtesting sessions, I have like a win rate of 80%, man, because I never take any trades except they are as clean as that one. You know, that's why it makes it a little frustrating that I didn't see that one. Okay, but also I'm now 11 wins and 2 losses since the start of this year, since I'm day trading again, because apart from these other 2 trades, I have taken setups that are clean as that one. You know, that's the reason why I have these 6 stats this year, and that's why I can't afford to take trade like you've seen in the other pair on AU. It's just gonna lower my win rate, start losing streaks and all that. It's better to just wait for something even cleaner, okay? And that's what I want to give you as a advice here. Just wait for the clean stuff, man. It's a good feeling. It's something that you should be proud of, to stay out of all the mediocre shit and just take the absolute clean stuff. The trade where you think like, oh my god, if I don't enter that, I might as well stop trading, or like where you think, oh my god, if this setup loses, man, I'm at peace, man. Like, this is so clean, you know. This, if you wait for this feeling and only take these trades, man, I'm gonna promise you it's gonna take your trading to the absolute next level, man. And this is what I'm gonna do again. It was a nice little reminder of that. These AU trades last week. And thank you, Mack, you're a legend, really, for mentoring me. And of course, when you do silly things, I'm gonna tell you as well. And so just for the reason why I missed this, I was just... So my main pairs is EU, GU, and GJ. So EU was just melting down, nothing interesting there this day. GJ was locked in a range, so nothing there. You see all the high time frame liquidity pools I marked out. Okay, I wanted this to get swept, so to look for anything on GJ. So I was basically only looking at GU, and GU was very nice on the high time frame. Okay, we swept this high time frame structure point, and then I was waiting for something like what you've seen just before. Okay, a resweep. We have this little seller's trap here potentially, and what I wanted to see in New York was simply this coming higher, resweeping this, okay, and then see our low time frame entry drill to take this lower, okay. So first thing, I was focused on GU because it's one of my 3 main pairs. Second thing, I was busy with customers. I'm working in a job and I have trading on one monitor and my customers and my colleagues on the other monitors. So that was the second point, but the third point was really, and this is something that I'm going to improve on, I just didn't mark out the high time frame liquidity pools. If I would have given it, and this is what I'm going to do from now, just before New York session, go over my maybe pairs as well, not just the main pairs, and just set alerts. There's a daily structural high. There's 1 second to put an alert there, and if it goes off, you can analyze or monitor it, make it split screen, you know, and monitor it. So this is something that I learned. My payout is processed now. So if I would have taken this trade, I know it's woulda, shoulda, coulda, but if I would have seen that, I would have 100% promise you I would have taken that trade. It has literally all I'm asking for, really. I would have paid out another $3,000 here. So that is the negative point of view that I don't really think too much of, but it is also the truth, right? But yeah, my mindset is more like, okay, I needed to oversee this, to learn my lesson, to make my pre-New York alerts from now on, and it's not going to happen again. So this is also something that I want to give you as an advice. If you not just trade 1 or 2 pairs, but actually maybe all majors or just a couple more pairs. And the fact of the matter is that the best setups are the ones after high time frame liquidity sweeps, and they are 4-hour structure points. You're not going to set every day before the session 20 alerts, you know. You're just going to set, like, it's a matter of 5 minutes going through these pairs and just set the alert on the high time frame levels, and then just be mindful of these alerts triggering, and then watching the pairs, you know. So this was avoidable. I learned my lesson, and I hope you learned something from this video too. I was really taking my time here going into the details, so that this hopefully not just helps me, but also saves you maybe from making the same mistakes. So that's always the goal with these trade recaps, not just for me to reflect on me and to journal, but also to try to prevent you from making the same mistakes as I. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know your opinion on the video. I'm always trying to improve. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.